Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Today we have another 2v2 where I'm teaming up with Vimes once again, and I'm playing as Baltic Front while my ally Vimes is playing, I believe, as Eastern Bloc, so the three-nation coalition there, of course, and I'm headed over toward Elena and Feder while he's headed over toward Boris and Center. This is a somewhat higher point game, I believe. I think it was 1500, well no, I think we had about 1,000 each starting, so I mean, high for single player, but for 2v2, that's about bog standard, at least from what I've seen. So, my ally Vimes is getting into Boris kind of okay, ahead of Kuzar's Vabs, and I'm going to be playing against Victor, it seems, over in Elena and Feder. So right away we see some of his forward elements. There's an AMX-10 RC, which is, of course, the pride of the Eurocorps coalition, or France, depending on which one it is, and I'm still not sure until I see that Fuchs Milan, which of course does tell me this is Eurocorps. So we have a bit of a duel going on. My Maddies are able to get a good engagement there. Syria coming in, takes out a couple of transports and an AMX-10 RC SB. Cart and Yakery are now in the town, but my Iroquois have been left a little bit behind. However, Musty getting a couple good shots in, and the Fallschirm Jaeger do go down. Raskas Kurima, one of my favorite oddball units with their 1400 meter range recoilless rifles, are able to threaten and actually destroy, I think, oh no, just threatened for the moment, but we'll see how that turns out. This Leopard 2A4 over on the other side, and in the meantime, my T-55 and the Maddies are moving into the woods as a Peace Shrine does come in, and I lose Musties with it. I think he was probably going after the Pion, but my allies' Hibernets are able to stun that plane, and let's see if we can get the follow-up shots. Yes, and the Peace Shrine does go down. In the meantime, Boris has been relatively well secured. We have the AMX-30B2s from Kuzar headed up toward Boris, and it looks like Dmitry has been capped, Center has been capped for our team as well, but this is a little bit unsatisfactory. Of course, we have the command infantry out in the middle of nowhere, and they really should be somewhere hidden, preferably somewhere unexpected, but it's a hard-fought match in Elena and Feder, and, well, I have Assyria coming back in again, as there is a Leopard 2A4 on that side, which will be more than a match for my Maddies and Pion. I have lost a Maddie to it already, but we do manage to take it down with another Syria. Wonderful explosion. Watching that happen was very satisfying in real time, and Cart and Yakery are going to be more than a match for the enemy reservists that are the only thing that Victor really has left. That's the lower player here, for those who cannot read Cyrillic, in this section of the map. So in the meantime, my ally has pushed up so far. He actually has a Conquerors team in the front of the usually enemy side of this, but we are drawing a little bit of return fire, so they're shaken. One group killed by Vab Rasits. Now, these guys you don't usually see, especially not a double stack, so let's just pause a moment, take a look at that. This is a 55-point Recon Jeep. One front armor, exceptional optics, 90 km per hour speed, off-road, 150 km per hour speed, on-road, and medium stealth. There is never any good reason that I'm aware of to have these double stacked, let alone to even deploy one, because holy cow, when you lose that, it is an expensive investment, and that is probably what's about to happen here as the Conquerors team is opening up, but nope, lost vision, and somehow they are still alive. So, I mean, for right now, it's okay, but should that forward position ever be challenged, it's going to be an issue. So, Alouette 2 coming out, hopefully doing some recon over on that side. I also have a double stack of T-55M Maddies. I believe I am playing Baltic motorized here, so I didn't really have anything heavier, and well, these guys are pretty decent fire support, so there is 17 AP power and 60% accuracy, but you have to be careful with these guys using their stabilizer, 15% accuracy. They will shoot, but they really shouldn't. Seed plane coming in, meanwhile, from my ally, and a very nice kill there indeed. So at this point in time, we probably could have pushed up forward, and I'm not sure Kuzar would have had that much of an answer, but there is something else going on here in Dmitry, who caught sight briefly of something moving up there, and another Peace Ride coming out from Victor, this time engaged by my F-18C, so one missile going in, and a hit, second missile, and a hit, and that Peace Ride goes down. It's the second one that we've killed so far this game, and I'm starting to get the feeling we're a little bit ahead on points here, as those are 100-point planes each, two of them dead, of course, in the air, but I had to buy an F-18C for it. That's about 170 points, I believe. Still moving the Cart and Yakery forward, because may as well, if I can grab that forward town and not have any opposition, I might be able to deny my enemy reinforcements. In the meantime, we have some repair and refit trucks here coming in to resupply the Raskas in Kurima, as well as the T-55M Maddie. So my ally over in center has been finally moving his command infantry over to a secure position. We of course did lose a +2 for just a minute there while that was going on. Commandos Para meanwhile engaging with helicopters, and this was an interesting one because Commandos Para are shock training 10-point squads, but there's just so many rocket pods here, and you know they are getting a bit of damage in, killing one of the THS Mi-8 TVs, but Sokol's just unloading with rocket pods, and now we have a rocket attack coming in, so marked by my ally there, and this is really not as bad of a problem as it might at first appear. It would be really excellent as a prelude to an attack in an entrenched position, but I mean, a single point knocked off the LSTR, no damage really done to the command helicopter, and a Tiger Hap taken down by the pair of Sokols. Of course, it does kill one, but numbers do tell in times like that. And, well, he kind of got more than he was asking for, although that Sokol is very badly damaged indeed. So now we do have a bit of trouble coming in, as there are reinforcements from Victor. And, I mean, this is sort of the thing where I probably should have been pushing forward a bit more aggressively, but here is the problem. So this is, I believe, a Tiger, the German one, and it snuck all the way around the side of the map. So this is revenge for my, yes, PH2 Tiger. This is revenge for my sneaky Baltic strike the other day, where I got Erkoes down this side and into Anna. Because look at this, we have no CV in Anna, we have no CV in Elena or Boris. The only CV we have left is in center. That's it, and there's a PH2 Tiger. Well, I mean, so there's one coming in from Vimes as well, but Tiger's gonna make quick, short work of that as those AA missiles go in, and down he goes. So I had one coming in to cap Elena, we had one in Anna, we had one intended for Boris. That Tiger killed 3 command vehicles in a matter of seconds, coming out of nowhere off the side of the map, and that just flipped our advantage right on its head in about half a second. So in order to deal with that, I am trying to bring back the Erkoes that I just moved up into Elena, so I popped them back in their car, and they're headed back over this way. Hibernet's also moving forward, but we've actually lost our fob. It's been captured by the Blue 4 team, which was kind of ridiculous. Now you can see what I mean here, though. The Vaborasids have been forced to move back as Bruzminski are moving forward, although, I mean, they can see them, so that's one thing. But PH2 Tiger now lifting off. He has captured our fob again, and my Alouette is about to suffer for this, so he is going to shoot at that. Also ATGM to the BTR, but Hibernet's able to stun and kill that helicopter. Does give us some small chance. We actually have nothing on the map capped right now at all, as our lone CV is moving back, not even in his original transport, back over to Anna. In the meantime, the Sokol, ambushed by a pair of bows, actually gets them both. Splash damage will do that, so be mindful of that. Using helicopters for anti-helicopter purposes, it can turn on you pretty quick. In the meantime, there is a Keeler, 70-point tank, and one of my personal favorites for that coalition, but tends to be a little bit fragile on armor. However, enough to take down the Maddie. Kartanyekri, however, showing their face here, do kind of scare him off a little bit. Not too good AP on that. 16 is not horrible, but doesn't want to get too close. In the meantime, however, my BTRs have gotten back. My Iroquois were unloaded again as soon as we got the kill on the Tiger, and CV is headed back to our Anna, and we're losing at a +3. Our opponents have 107, soon to be 110 points. We haven't been able to deploy anything. There are Sapors and Commando Marines headed up through the woods this way, although this kind of turned on them a little bit as well, so we have Pechota and Topaz firing in, just shredding those commandos, and the Sapors are about to take the same sort of treatment, so not exactly ideal there. And finally, we have the Mi-8 TV touching down, depositing those command infantry as quickly as humanly possible in this zone, so Vimes did just save this entire game there with that play. And unfortunately for our opponents, they weren't able to rush us. I mean, if I were them, I would have just bombed the hell out of whatever was over here as quickly as I could, or sent in another Tiger, or something like that, just to make sure, because we only had the one capped, and they should have very well known that. Immediate CV coming in from Vimes, immediate infantry and KTs coming in from me, and more infantry and KTs, another command vehicle headed up, this time to cap Elena, as we are just bleeding points here. I mean, they even capped Feder in the meantime, so getting Anna on the +1 there, we're still at a -3. And now we have another Gazelle coming out of the woods. This is exactly what I mentioned with continuing the rush, and I do lose a KT as well as the infantry in it. But, I mean, second KT going down, and that's going to be an issue, especially if the Tiger can shoot at the Copa. One missile going in, and better lucky than good sometimes, it was a miss. F-18C comes in, and down goes the Tiger, so at least that is some saving grace. Although I wish I'd been able to do it before. I had to use a Syria to kill the Alouette, because that's the only tool I had in my toolkit that could respond that immediately. In the meantime, however, we are moving up in these woods, so I have Iroquois leading the way. A bit of an expensive pick here. I had meant to have other infantry, but again, A little bit less than ideal situation here. Now the Copa is moving up, trying to cap on the unexpected part of Elena, so that maybe we can not lose more command vehicles during this. And it looks like Kuzar is trying to bring in reinforcements to shake the position in Boris, if he can. Meanwhile, Center, LSTR are all alone, so that position that we had been securing is now a little bit out of whack, and that will need some attention sooner rather than later. But we're doing what we can. So I have more infantry and KTs, and these guys, I mean, even with the point nerf, they're still pretty decent. Bushmaster 2 more than carries his weight, at least when used properly. Now it's just, I mean, it's worse than it was before should you lose them. Kuzar's reinforcements, however, are taken out by Przminski, Pechota, all of these things. I mean, Pechota, pretty short range on that, but pretty good fire support here. So Vidra 2s with their autocannons, there's Litza shoots in the towns as well, and they will project power forward. And meanwhile, my Iroquois have been relatively unopposed. We take down, I think this was, oh, let's see, that flaming wreck. That was a command vehicle in Fetter, so they were actually able to chase him down and finally get a little bit of revenge for our side of the map. We have reduced that +3 lead to a +1, but we're 230 some points behind with 29 minutes left. It's not unrecoverable, but holy hell was this, you know, edge of my seat kind of stuff. Seaplane coming in and not finding anything, but the FJB will take a shot, and unfortunately that's a miss. Hibernets are a little too far away, and our air defenses suffered because we needed to use so many points on command vehicles. F-18C, however, is able to take that guy out, so that's another good thing for us there. And in the meantime, my Pion has encountered a Leopard 2A4 in the woods. A little bit scary here. We got a good first shot off, and that Leopard is badly damaged, but not enough to take him down. So I will have to rely on the Yekuri and the KTs, as my Syrias were just a little bit too late. However, this was the exact moment that I noticed in-game, you know, those Syrias should have had some sort of fire coming in against them, and they didn't. Maybe I can take advantage of that. So, in the meantime, Alouettes and Sokol's not going to let that shenaniganry happen again on our eastern side. AMX-10 RC for Victor is spotted by my Iroquois Yekri. The T-55s getting into a pissing match with the 2A4 is going to be a bad thing for them there. So I'm trying to move up with KTs and the Yekri as quickly as I can. These are more reservists moving forward, and I mean, they'll draw fire. That's fine. But the KTs in the woods and the Yekri should be pretty good. Syria moving in again, trying to catch that Leopard, but again, a little bit too slow, just a tiny bit, as those AMXs do suffer, and I mean, KTs and Yekri proving to be an excellent pair once more, just value infantry. Here's the Leopard 2A4, but I mean, KTs at close range, they have some punch, and here it is, opening fire, side shot on the 2A4, and down it goes. That's exactly what you love to see for some sort of Baltic motorized push. In the meantime, the Maddies are holding their own, but I mean, these guys are getting close enough. I do retreat, and the Iroquois are trying to use their secondaries as much as they can, just AMX-13 spam, and we see those rockets go off once again, this time aimed at the center zone, so Boris, because I mean, some zones are named center and this one is not, and that time, yeah, that's pretty good. So Litza shoots in, Przminski taking it on the nose, those Vidras stunned, SPW stunned, panicked, and all of that is a wonderful prelude to a push there. In the meantime, however, my Iroquois have been able to fend off that AMX-13 push and the reservists, along with the support from the T-55M Maddies, and I'm now getting Ranico up. These guys are elite special forces, of course, and they do have a tertiary that can fight infantry, so a bit more robust for the front line than Iroquois Yekri, which are, you know, more of a supporting anti-helicopter and I guess all-around resources role. Dmitry hasn't really been that mobile, but we do have a couple things moving up from Kuzar. It could just be to support that forward town for him, but it might also be a push considering his reinforcements on this side have been suffering. A Milan team does open up and takes down a Vidra. Never a good thing, these guys. I mean, 15 points isn't that expensive, but still, never pleasant to lose. Things you don't have to. I have lost a couple Super Pumas, but with the Maddies retreating and the Iroquois moving over, we've relatively well flushed out all the reservists. Well, I say that, but most all the reservists from that zone. In the meantime, Kartin Yekri moving up once again. Still 25 men left in that unit, and he has been here since the beginning of the match. Now, a little bit of friendly fire from my ally, unfortunately, as he did just kind of want to support me there. It was well-intentioned, and that's fine. Sokols have managed to get around the back, and we're doing to them what they did to us. I think this is fair at this point, and they are opening up on artillery. So the Sokols using their rocket pods to best effect, but really just not the right tool for the job. I mean, these guys were set up defensively, but the defense never came. So they do get a command vehicle there, and we're hunting after that second Lars. but there are some reinforcements coming in, TPZ Fuchs Milans, and another push, another Leopard 2A4 in the woods. My Ranico are getting a little overwhelmed, but they managed to take down that Leopard, of course, with the 23 AP power, most importantly 20 rounds per minute Apolos, and these guys can eat reservists for breakfast, so really no worries there either. And now our opponents have to be panicking as, I mean, I lost the Sokols, but we took down the bow, we took down their CV, we took down their artillery. It's looking pretty good for us now, and very much more of a challenge for our opponents. In the meantime, Crotal and Amankari have been identified in these woods, that's why the Alouette hasn't moved up any further, but unfortunately the Kartanyekri, as good as they are against infantry, don't have the range to take down that Crotal, when a couple other things like Legion 90 might be able to, so I mark it, well, actually Vimes marked it, just to make me aware, and, you know, we were talking in voice chat, so he just wanted to point out the location that little bit quicker. I very much appreciated. I mean, that sort of communication makes or breaks games, oftentimes. So, now we are actually taking out a +3 for ourselves, as Gregory has been resecured, and now the Blue 4 team finds themselves in the same situation we were in. Avia 28 coming in to bomb that Crotal, and we do lose the Avia, so not exactly a good trade, but I was kind of pissed at this point. I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to bomb the hell out of them. It'll be a good time, trust me. Taking the full brunt of Ranico and KTs to the face is never going to be very pleasant, but you know, this is enough of a push. I was hoping to really just secure this entire zone and move on from there. So, I mean, the Fuchs Milans should never have been pushed up this far without supporting infantry. They're just going to eat it in close range combat. But something is spotting, because the KTs are spotted as well, although maybe not anymore. And we should be able to make quick work of those. Oof, Fallschirmjäger. I actually forgot about this. These, I mean, here's the thing, right? You see this right here? So that tertiary IMG3 is firing because they saw the Jägeri first, which is what's keeping them from shooting at the KTs. But they really should be shooting at the KTs, so it's times like these, disable that tertiary, let that secondary hit, and take out the high-value infantry fighting vehicles first, although these guys do then become hidden once more. And the Renico Jägeri combined with the regular Jägeri are going to be enough to take down this Fallschirmjäger before too much more can happen. In the meantime, however, a quad stack of Commando Marine from Kuzar, and this was actually pretty dangerous, so FJB don't have the frontline fighting chops to handle those on their own. Druzminski are getting absolutely shredded by a quad stack. We have also some ATGMs coming in, and this is a big pile of infantry fighting vehicles, but it's Commando Marines, man. They have 60 bodies to hold the line with, and yeah, I mean, a squad goes down, but still, all the while this is going on, there's more ATGMs coming in. The Commando Marine are having just a fine time chewing through as much as they can, and now that the infantry are gone, that secondary LRAC F1 is opening up, and down go SPW after SPW, so a Hawk Bomber is coming in, and I'm hoping to get as much of these guys as I can. We actually, I mean, we got about half of what was remaining, but that could have been better, and I think I lose the Hawk to a Rafale. Yeah, so he was falling way off the map there. It's kind of funny how that happens sometimes. More artillery from our opponents, and this time I think they're just hunting for anything they can in the home zone. Never really going to be too effective at that point. Of course, we have command infantry, but are going to be resilient to that sort of light HE scatter shot sort of artillery run. So, Commando Marine now losing to a Flame Panzer. I love Vimes' Flame Panzers. I can never make anything happen with them, but sometimes he gets good use. We'll have to see. Yeah, he actually gets the kill before they were able to open up that LRAC once again. F4F coming in, trying to hit some Super Pumas. I have my own command vehicle that was headed up to Cap Fetter, and, I mean, at this point, I mean, F-18C coming in, the F4F is... Ooh, he lives? Oh, no, okay. Yeah, no, he lived. That's upsetting. At this point, if we cap Fetter as well, I mean, we're going to flip this to a +3 ticking. We're nearly caught up with them. There's over half the match left, and Vimes and I were both in a, you know what, we have strong positions. This match is ours. Let's do it. It'll be fun. We'll show these guys. Sometimes Wargame does not exactly encourage the best in people, but, you know, such is life. As long as you're not going too hard, it's probably fine. Jägeri supported by KTs, of course, holding the lines of these four woods, but my KTs are actually running out of ammunition. Didn't notice it at the time. Artillery coming in from my ally here to try and put a dent in some of these woods, and we have Ranico Jägeri in the woods as well. Should be pretty good. Fetter has been secured, and now if we take a big look at the overall map, Center, Boris, Anna, Elena, and Fetter are all held, so unless something should go terribly wrong, we should be able to catch up and win before the time runs out without anything else getting in the way. Rafal coming in again, and he does knock out an Alouette. I mean, using that as a Helo Hunter is a choice, but it's close enough to his own zone, and our AA has been lax so far, so I guess I can see where he was coming from. In the meantime, however, Jaeger is still doing really well, and I think Victor's reservists really don't serve him all that well here, because you can throw endless bodies at a problem, but if they never actually wear down the opposing troops, then they're just wasted points, and that's sort of what we have here, where there have been just tides and tides of reservists that get killed, still points sufficiently for me. So Renico Jaeger opening up, reservists are going down, and so are their transports, of course, and that does add up. Sooner or later, I mean, look at that speed that those reservists are going down. Stunned, panic, not even returning fire anymore, as they really just are truly overwhelmed by the Finnish army. So at this point we do spot a motor push. Well, I guess I'm not really sure what to call this, because Harpons are barely even tanks. If we take a look, 25-point tanks. They do have an ATGM, and I mean, it's not horrible for 25 points, but yeah, my ally was a bit panicking here, just thinking maybe they were sandbagging until the late game. Rafal comes in and is hunting after that Su-22 M4P. Does get him. No, does not get him. Sometimes it's really hard to tell for those. F-18C coming in, and we do get the Rafal, so yep, that dead plane is in the air and sinking. Always like to watch that in the replays. And I am sending a couple series over. I know it's a bit of a waste of points here. I mean, these guys are 40, but the Harpons are 25, but yeah, we did have a bit of a hole in our lines here in the western side, and sometimes you just gotta take one for the team. So I do lose Assyria. It's not really quite worth it, but if we don't have an answer to these guys, they will be able to bore through this hole in the center of the woods. However, we do have an answer, so DHS Mi-24P coming up from Vimes, and I am calling in my own attack helicopter as well. Of course, the Mi-24W. So both competent ATGM helicopters. We have 4 on the Mi-24P, which is of course dual purpose, and we have 8 on the Mi-24W, so a bit more efficient of an answer there, but I mean, the Mi-24P is more all-around capable and better at handling helicopters, which you very often see in a game like this. So they should be over there in more than enough time. We have lots of scouting on these guys, so I'm not worried about that, and the Conquerors teams will be able to handle anything that comes too close to right down the pipe in Boris, so lots of those missiles going in, and the AMX is just able to hide, but fire and forget missiles are pretty wonderful. I have lost a couple of Renico Jaeger, as there are more, actually, finally Jaeger, and those guys will fight pretty competently there. Supporting fire from the KTs is nice, but there's just so many bodies here, it's pretty incredible. So I do have an Avia 28 and a Hawk 51 coming in. The Hawk goes down, but the Avia survives, and let's take a look at that. So Hawk bombs, they're pretty small, not a lot of damage done there, but that is what you like to see, and the Avia is able to put a big dent in that enemy formation. In the meantime, the Mi-24W and the DHS have done a lot of good work here. Really just Harpons and Weasels left, and I mean the Weasels are tinier than the Harpons, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. Barely tank gets, let alone anything else. Rafal coming in, trying to get a kill on the Mi-24W, does land one missile, but a Sokol taking a couple shots, and again my F-18 coming in, and we, combined to take him down quite well. So in the meantime, I do have BTRs and KTs heading up and shooting at this bow, which, I mean, I was just hoping, to push into Gregory with whatever I could. There's still some enemy forces here, of course. I wasn't able to get Renico through, and there was a sizable enemy formation there, so I was thinking, alright, well, fine, maybe I had fever dreams of glory. Let's just hold this and hold it well, and if I can sneak something through, so be it. In the meantime, we still do have to finish off this push, and yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to do it. Let's Schützen should be able to do it just fine. They're just Harpons, but still. And only a couple minutes left here. AMX-10 RC does actually, this is pretty interesting. He spots my Carton Jaeger in the woods and opens up, which is pretty nice. But then, KT's getting some good shots. I love to see that. But I think I'm just about to move, yep, Carton Jaeger moved back, and this was very clearly an attack order that was not modified when the AMX-10 RC engaged, because these Carton Jaeger are, I think, about to go back invisible. See, yes. And the AMX-10 RC continues moving forward, spots them again, loses them again, keeps moving forward, and I'm going to move the Carton Jaeger back to the edge of the woods here, and they will be able to engage with those M72A4 laws. So one hit and second hit, there we go. In the meantime, however, the KTs have demolished the base defenses for the Blue 4 team and are just sort of trying to send even that little bit more of a message as they come up to the cliffside here. I'm sorry for that odd zoom. Sometimes it does that when it thinks you're trying to follow a unit. Unfortunately, we are taking some fire, but the first shot's a bit of a miss, and we are able to take down a Crotal. I was hoping to get the Larses as well, or maybe a command vehicle, but we get a couple shots off on some things, and it looks like now there is infantry guarding that back town, so that was pretty nice recovery there. From the Blue 4 team, just a little too late, as I have lots of infantry now, more Yekri and XA-180s in these woods, supported by CC, of course, the shock training recon infantry for Baltic front, and this was just, this was just a statement of, you're not going to get past here, it's okay, we'll be fine. So, the last couple points ticking down, we are just going to, I think, go forward because there's not all that much still going on here. We have pretty good KD, I believe, on the Red 4, Blue 4, against the Blue 4 team. We'll take a look at that in just a second as we do round to 500 points, and that match is over. So, kills and losses, 5,300 kills for the Red 4 team, that was me and Vimes, 3,285 for Blue 4, so even though we had that scare right at the beginning of the game, it really wasn't as bad as it seemed, and we were able to recover just fine. In terms of standout units, the Pion PSV did very well at the beginning of the game, taking out my enemy's Scout AMX-10 RC. The Syrias did pretty well, so Crotal reservists are not anything major, but that was just an accidental kill against after it went after the Crotal in the beginning. MX-10 RC, Gazelle Canon, F-18C did very well. PH-2 Tiger, Peace Rhine, Tiger Had, Jaguar A, Rafale, Alpha Jet, F4F, paying for himself about 4 times over, which is pretty nice. Curtin Yakri fought well, Raskusin Kurima got a Leopard 2A4, hey, that works for me. Another Leopard 2A4 going down to Assyria, and even the Maddies were able to provide decent fire support with one of them even killing a Keeler, which is punching up. Eriko's Yakri did well, these are the ones that, actually I don't know which ones those, yes, those are the ones that were forward in Feder, I believe, and were able to spot the enemy CV and take it out. Pretty much all around I was pretty happy with that. Raniko Yakri did pretty well. So that's all we've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.